Omar H. Rahman, a fellow at the Middle East Council on Global Affairs. Omar, thank you so much for your time. Trump's backtracking to now say his idea for Gaza is a recommendation. How has that occurred to him? Where do you think he has heard noises which suggest his initial idea simply would never happen?
First of all, thank you for having me. I mean, that, to answer your question, is pretty much clear, right? The Arab states have provided kind of a counter narrative or a counter plan to Donald Trump and pushed back on the idea and made him, made it clear that what he suggested was infeasible and that they wouldn't back it. And he needs them in order to back it because, I mean, from the beginning, the Israelis have been trying to push the Palestinians out of Gaza, and that required Egypt to relocate them, which it refused to do from the start. So, these kind of suggestions that you can suddenly move 2 million people out of the Gaza Strip that didn't want to go anywhere, or that didn't want to leave their homeland, was always foolish. And so I think Trump was being kind of misled by Netanyahu, and when he was dosed with the cold water of reality, now he's walking that back a bit. But we have to kind of contemplate that this may be, a negotiating tactic, start with the extreme position, and then force the other side to the table with more concrete plans, as a negotiation tactic.
A lot of what is to come is practical, it's logistical, it's about rebuilding. It could also be about rehousing, however that goes. But then there's the kind of more ephemeral political and ideological issue here. Have you heard any public indication that Hamas is prepared to accept the demand that it not be in charge of a future Gaza?
Well, there's been discussions around that, and I've heard Hamas, Hamas officials say that they're prepared to, not play the dominant role in any government to come. So I think there is a willingness and a flexibility there. Although you do see, some people saying, well, no, we're the ones that are in charge. We, fought this war with Israel for the past 15 months and survived it. We're still here, and we're going to play that role. So I think there's a delicate negotiation that's happening behind the scenes. But yes, I mean, Hamas is the elephant in the room. I don't expect them to, let's say, lay down their arms, surrender, and leave the Gaza Strip. So I think in any type of case, they're going to have a say on what that future looks like. Whether they're in the front or not is a matter of negotiation.
So where do you see this actually concluding? Because if the words two-state solution are not coming out of the mouths of American leaders and negotiators, it's just a temporary solution, isn't it?
Of course, anything's temporary until you resolve the overarching political demands and political needs of the Palestinian people, their statelessness and their demand for self-determination. Until that's addressed, this is not going anywhere. And of course, Israel is the primary obstacle to any kind of resolution of conflict, and has been for the past 76 years. So what it requires, I think, is a rethinking. Trump wants to rethink it by denying the Palestinian people their legitimate rights, and I don't think that's going to work. So what I think is required is more pressure on the Israelis to get them to abandon this ambition for Israeli sovereignty over the entirety of the land, a greater Israel. And we're not there quite yet. But right now the Arab states are getting involved. The main focus is the Gaza Strip and its future, rebuilding that. They don't want to get involved in that unless there is a larger plan. But I think, again, this is where Trump's kind of tactics are bringing them on board in order to prevent the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. And that may be now delinked from the kind of larger demand, which is movement towards a Palestinian state. So I think that may be part of the negotiating tactic here that the Trump administration, that the Israelis are behind, because they were also pushing for, at some point for the Arab states to come in here and clean up and pay for all the things that Israel broke, and to take control and police and do all that kind of stuff, which they were unwilling to do, in service of Israel, absent a Palestinian state. So I think we're at that kind of position here where these things are negotiated, and we're going to find, who has the leverage.
It's going to be very interesting. Omar Rahman, thank you so much for the analysis, Omar.
Sure.